Real Life Revised is a reading series that was just a dream where we would have 5 featured readers, people that we had heard read before, people that are doing really important, interesting, vital work. And we're only giving them 5 minutes. So we're calling them up and saying, you have 5 minutes, give us your most urgent thing and start a conversation with us. And that's it. You're doing a 5-minute reading, either an excerpt or a poem or a couple of poems or flash prose. And the whole thing is that you've only got 5 minutes to tell everybody in this room one thing. What's it gonna be? And then we open it up for 5 open mic slots who are doing the same thing. You have 5 minutes. Say one thing. What's your one thing gonna be? And it's sandwiched by 20 minutes in the beginning where you're meeting people, you're nervous, you're excited, there's free food, there's little zines where you can take notes and doodle, and then at the end, there's another 40 minutes where, okay, you just heard 5 minutes after 5 minutes after 5 minutes of the most urgent thing in everybody's body, and now you have 40 minutes to go talk to those people about that thing you just heard, about where else they're doing workshops or where else they're doing readings. Like, that's the whole vibe. We want it to be a 2-hour experience where the reading is just kind of the cookie cream, but those 2 cookies on the outside where you're talking about what just happened is really important. Thank you. So thank you for WQRT for hosting us. Woo! Those who don't know WQRT, that is Big Car, who's like a big arts dude in town. Thank you so much, WQRT. We appreciate you. There is so much food here. There are plastic bags to take the food home. Thank you, Butler MFA in Creative Writing, for providing all of that food. We deeply appreciate it. And we're in the best house in Indianapolis, I think. This is Indiana Humanities' home, the Nicholson House. Indiana Humanities provides arts and grant support to basically everybody throughout the state of Indiana. If you are interested in making art or getting involved with Indiana Humanities, Megan Telligman is the program director at Indiana Humanities, and she is here and very willing to talk to anybody. Okay, I think that's all my thank yous. Welcome to Real Life Revised. This series is one of many readings and open mics happening throughout Indianapolis. If you have time on the mic, or if you don't, and you're just chatting with people, talk about where else you're hearing and seeing things. Talk about workshops happening in town. This is a space to plug other stuff going on too. This last time, J.D. Amick, who read and is in the back of the room, did a haibun that he had written that was absolutely beautiful, and it made me think of one of my favorite haibuns by Torrin Greathouse, who is a trans cripple punk poet who created her own form based on a haibun. So it's called a Burning Haibun. So a regular haibun, I'll fill in the prose writers. A regular haibun is a prose block that ends in a haiku at the end. And a Burning Haibun, which was coined by Torrin Greathouse, is a prose block, then it's duplicated. So it's the prose block again, and it's erased. So it's like blackout poetry into a haiku. So it's a prose block on top, and then a haiku that's pulled out of that prose block at the bottom. So that's my little teaching moment, and I'm gonna read that from Torrin's book, which is Wound from the Mouth of a Wound. I read from Ellipses by Fadi Judah last time, which I bought at Tomorrow Bookstore. I did buy this one at Indie Reads, so there's many places to buy poetry in town now. We're very lucky. All right, this is Burning Haibun by Torrin Greathouse. Once, my mother accused me of throwing alcohol and gasoline on my emotions. Once, my father's breath was a guilty verdict. His car curved inward like a palm, how it birthed him back as a fist, and I became the bloody rise of crescent moods hidden inside. I skin my knuckles and smell the alcohol before it enters the wound. Yesterday, I read that cleaning a cut with this clear burn will worsen the scar, make the undamaged cells forget how to rebuild. Maybe each scar is the skin's blackout, each blackout erasure down to the cell. Once, my father tried to collision a child into perfect. Once, I tried to drink myself into blackout or erasure myself into something more poem than memory. Since the birth of words, we have languaged our history into burnable things. Papyrus, paper, plastic film. Once, I bought a box of cassettes just to watch their innards burn, flashpoint from wound to wound. Once, the cops accused me of lineage, my blood a guilty verdict, each breath my father's, how we first called delirium, tremens, the blue devils, alcohol possessing the body, how each drink curls me into a tighter fist, and this too is not mine, or if I can claim innocence, each bruised wall, each jaundiced dawn without midnight before it becomes a guilty verdict. My mother marries an alcoholic and gives birth to kindling. This is to say, my father calls his child a faggot and watches them burn. Did I inherit this addiction from my father or the queer of my blood? Once I swallowed liquor like guilt and named this family. Once, my mother accused me of my father's breath, his hidden inside. I smell the alcohol, forget how to rebuild. Each blackout erasure down to birth of burnable things. Once I just watch the wound, accuse me of my blood, my father's possessing the body, how each drink, too, is not mine, or I claim guilt. My mother gives birth to his child, a faggot, and I inherit this queer of my blood. I swallow and name family, father, hidden in erasure of me, each drink, mine, my faggot blood. It's a very good book. Speaking of very good books, Samantha Fain has a book for sale up front. There are also freebies that were left by two of our writers last week, so pick up. Taylor Lewandowski has some stuff, and Damon Jones left stickers as well. All right, now I'm going to pull up my first person. And the first reader tonight, because he's not busy enough, is poet and professor Mitchell L.H. Douglas. Mitchell has a book recommendation for you. Go read Pedagogy of the Oppressed by Paulo Freire. Please clap for Mitchell L.H. Douglas.
Hey, good people. Sam, how are you doing? It's good to see so many of you here. This evening, I have a book coming out at the end of February. My new book is Universal Corner. It's about me kind of growing up as a punk rock kid and a hip hop kid. And I want to read you a poem about a time when one of my punk rock heroes kind of let me down. I never saw them the same way again. This is, and I'm not going to say what this person said. It's blanked out actually in the poem. This is called Darby Crash Calls a Dead Painter and I Rethink My Adolescence. Because I want to believe at 13 I didn't know what the spit and cinder was. That I scrawled "We Must Bleed" across the back of a Hawkeyes Rose Bowl t-shirt and shanked it with safety pins in the 8th grade. Ignorance. Because he was drunk and wanting more. A place I've been, and he wailed like a wounded manimal from the low-slung stage. Brave bottles and spit and the imminent destruction of his pale, pale body. How did I miss the slur from my sparked-haired protagonist, his majesty of beer and leather, Penelope's zoom and focus over the frying pan slap of bacon and eggs? Darby's companion recalling the incident with glee, the man thought to be asleep, but not. The man dead, his house painting incomplete, the picture they took crowding around the corpse of someone loved, a ghost already angered without a foot in the grave. How else could I dance through the halls of Southeast Junior High, a strummer-wide mohawk battering the path, the drawl of "caught in my eye, yeah," dragged through the pale air like the unbeaten song. I want to believe I made you a hero. Poster child of saints' angst and oppression out of the absence of knowledge that no book or ear turned me in the name of freedom. Do not be mistaken. I was not free. I was not the razor, the independent thinker. Hell, that mohawk wasn't even my idea. I wore it like I wore your lyrics, against my body, the opposite of pale, against my questions, my parents' wishes, always against open, seen, always a sword. No matter the livery. When the trucker kept drinking and got behind the wheel, numb in the spirit, he slammed his tractor trailer into the car that never brought Bill's mother home. The company threw money at his feet, and Bill tried to make it through a farm, safe from the streets where jocks and rednecks chased us. gave IC Punk some peace, and love thrived. Our pack a little braver, house parties, and talk of our own bands. Black flag and beer bottles rattling our ears. How about a mohawk? Bill said, my parents out of town and my head laid bare to the breath of winter.
And it looks like that's from Mitchell's new book, which is coming out February 24th. So you can either steal his copy or wait. Our next reader, I often call the funniest essayist in Indiana. I would love to welcome to the stage Jane Ristine Hixon, who recommends Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. It is fun and light, just like Jane. Please give it up for Jane.
I don't have any time to waste. The summer after I graduated from high school, I visited my grandparents in Leland, Michigan with my high school boyfriend, a really nice kid named Pete, who had a strong jaw and calves like tree trunks. We took a big plane to a little airport and then a little plane to another little airport where we were greeted by my beloved grandfather, who I called Papa Dick. He pulled it off. 25 years later and 16 years after losing Papa Dick to stomach cancer, I can still remember the way his bald head reflected the harsh overhead lighting as he opened his arms to hug me. When I was 8 or so, he took me to Chicago, and while we were waiting in the line to go to the top of the world's tallest building, a mime employed by the Sears Tower and supplied as entertainment to the folks waiting to go to the top, walked up to my grandfather, grabbed his head on both sides, tilted it forward, and went on to begin grooming himself in the imaginary reflection. It was my favorite thing, and from then on I always adored the way the light bounced off of that perfectly round bald head. Janie! He was the only person allowed to call me Janie, and I ran to him with tears in my eyes. I was always just so happy to be with him. The night before she dropped us off at the airport, as I was packing, my mom came into my room and sat down in the corner of my bed. Mama Lou will probably not be nice to Pete. She doesn't like his grandmother. Why not? Pete's grandmother was adorable. Because they ran in the same social circles for years and years, and because they have a lot more money than she does. My mom tongued her wine glass and laughed. Your dad's mother is such a pill. When we arrived at the lake house, duffel bags over our shoulders and gleaming in the anticipation of a good dry hump, Pete and I were equally horrified to discover, straight in our eye line, my grandmother on the can. She was unembarrassed, sending a melodic, hello, the way that you might if you were calling from the kitchen instead of the toilet. So Pete turned around and walked back outside, the way that all teenage boys do when they find a 75-year-old woman with no pants on. Not off to a great start. A few minutes later, after regaining our composure, we congregated in the kitchen with Mama Lou, and Pete officially introduced myself. Mama's affect was flat. She'd been drinking. You're Ina Meyer's grandson, right? You're a big boy, she said without smiling. Pete's jaw actually literally dropped. I'm thirsty, I hollered because it was the first thing to pop into my brain. I yanked the fridge open and leaned inside to hide my red face behind it. The options were bleak. 2 open cans of 7-Up, a milk carton full of some monstrosity called egg beaters, and a half-gallon of milk. Oh, there's chocolate syrup. I'm going to make myself some chocolate milk. The milk poured like milk, and I poured more than I meant to. The syrup poured like black cottage cheese. It was July of 2000. When I checked, the chocolate had expired in 1992. And when I stirred it, it curdled. I can't drink this. You can, and you will, said Mama Lou. Chocolate doesn't expire. Pete looked at me like he was about to shit his pants. She scared me. She always had, and now she scared Pete. I took a fake sip and said I was going to show Pete around the house and the yard, whispering frantically to each other as we ran towards the water. You can't drink that. It's going to make you sick. I'm not going to drink it. I'm going to dump it out. Sit down right here. I told Pete, and I lowered myself onto the dock and dangled my skinny teenage legs over the edge. Pete peered over my shoulder, watching for Mama as I dumped the milk into the water. An impossibly enormous plume of chunky, milky liquid diarrhea exploded, muddying the water in every direction. Sick. Oh my God! Oh no, what is wrong? What happened to the water? Oh my God! It was Papa Dick. He had snuck up behind us from the other direction, and Pete looked terrified for just a split second, but as soon as he saw me laughing, his face softened, and he realized that only one of my grandparents was a B word. Papa Dick, unfortunately, took a little longer to realize that there wasn't a terrible fish plague. He was very worked up, yelling, "Oh God, what about the ducks and the swans and the fish?" When he finally noticed me laughing, when I laugh really hard, it makes no noise at all. He was a little fussy, but only for a minute. And then he smiled down at me, slipping off his old nasty shoes. He dipped his old nasty toe in the old nasty water, shaking his head and laughing a little as I told him about the milk. "Oh, that chocolate is fine, Janie. I had some a couple nights ago." "Did you really?" "I have no idea," he said. I kissed the shiny spot on his head where the mime had seen the reflection 10 years earlier, and exactly where I'd kiss him 9 years later, the morning after my wedding, the last time I ever saw him. "Do you remember when Pete Roberts came up here with me and we spilled a bunch of nasty milk in the channel?" I asked him, sitting on the edge of his hospice bed. He didn't say yes or no. He just smiled softly. I miss him so much.
It's always the prose writers. They play with the bell. Thank you, Jane. All right, our next reader for the night is going to be Rosaleen Crowley. And Rosaleen recommends the book Be Prepared to Be Luminous, which is poems written in... Oh, I know this book. This is an anthology, right? Oh, there it is. It's a compilation, and it's written in Indiana or about Indiana. Amazing. Thank you, Rosaleen Crowley. Everybody clap for Rosaleen Crowley.
I hope it's okay to self-promote
Yes,
here.
it's okay to self-promote.
The first poem I'm going to read for you is a poem that I wrote after about 2 months of not writing at all. And I picked up a glass paperweight, and this is what came out. Someone crafted me and let me go. Separated from my maker, I stand strong like a glass paperweight, hiding a dead weight from the world. Looks can be deceiving, airy and aerated with bubbles, sitting pretty, looking fragile, all the time tasked to hold down whatever is capable of flying off in many directions. You can call me wife, mother, grandmother, sister, aunt, or friend. Relationships seen through the prism of life. Transparent and honest, made with love. In the end, calm and beauty win. And very short poem here alongside that called Very Proud Nana. I'm the proud Nana of 4 granddaughters. And this one tells its own story. My granddaughter, Harper, who is 3, spoke to me on the phone on Saturday evening. Her voice delivered what to me sounded like a poem. She said, "Nana, I want to tell you something. We are going to Conner Prairie tomorrow, and we're going to have breakfast." First, she addresses me Nana. She's setting me up for a communication. Second, I want to tell you something. She has a message. Third, I want to tell you. She's clear on identifying her audience. Fourth, we are going. She's making a connection. Fifth, to Conner Prairie, the name of a place that conjures up history, openness to truth, respect, and lessons learned. Sixth, and. Use of word and conjunction. And is a coordinating conjunction. A coordinating conjunction connects words, phrases, and clauses of equal importance. And there's more anticipation. Seventh, we are going to have hope for the future. Eighth, breakfast. Food, my favorite meal. Another connection, communion with the senses. Now I hope you can see why I said her words were like a poem. Thank you.
I'm such a sucker for a Nana poem. All right, our next reader today has books for sale over near Megan Telligman, who once again is the Indiana Humanities person, which is why we're all here for free. So the one sentence book art rec. I got this very early, several weeks ago, which I deeply appreciate the organization of. Watch the show BoJack Horseman if you're looking to explore complex themes of empathy, trauma, and loneliness outside the binary of good versus bad. Yes. Everybody, please welcome Samantha Fain.
Thanks, guys. The disclaimer is to only watch it if you're ready to just like have your day ruined. Can everyone hear me? Okay, cool. I've got 2 poems. The first one's from my book to like market it. Maybe you'll want to buy it. Ode to my phone, who thinks all my friendships never end. And I'm still in love with all of them. I still see advertisements for applesauce and blue Gatorade. Autocorrect still spells your name. I believe the internet knows how to love relentlessly more than anyone else, how to keep grasping what wants to leave. Don't delete the data. I like dreaming of our information still floating and holding hands while we both sleep. Any algorithm of delusion is better than weeping. Emojis make me reimagine grief, its tiny picture. How else do I tweet that I miss you? I used to be a romantic, but now I'm just its image. I move about my day carrying a box of hearts, and I see you in every rotisserie chicken. I cry with my elbows on my knees, back against the fridge, the sliver of light that shines out all too big and wrong. I can't eat rotisserie chicken the same way, guys. It's bad. This is a new poem. New shit, yeah. It's about like how you know you're better off now, but you want bad things to happen to you. Litany of wanting what's bad for me. Lord, grant me dark chocolate and thinspiration. Give me artificial sweeteners linked to carcinogens. Feed me cancerous ham and sobbing cauliflower, burnt shirts and the whole goddamn onion. Please grant me depressing television and sad songs and a light for dying that can't burn out. Send me one last midnight text from my favorite ex that makes me misbehave. Hide my hindsight for a few more years. Strengthen my faith in strangers and my weight. Post my real address on the internet, not the fake. Bring me chat rooms and curiosity and another hole in my head. Lord, I want the hazards and more gray hairs. Place that Prius in my blind spot. Take it all away. I want the love and the pain and all its aftermath. I want to bleed the world for all it's worth. And if you give me a bathroom, grant me no toilet paper, so I must relearn sacrifice. And if you bless me with a garden, don't spoil me with strawberries until 3 years' time. Let me struggle and sweat. God, grant me a heaving chest cry, borrow my breath, multiply my mess, and my skin can grow, but don't let that scab heal. Commence the fester. God, give me expired spinach and poison me with shits. Give me feeling. Loop those currents through me like explodingly bright circuitry. It doesn't even have to be survivable. I ask only for life, not continuity. Lord, if you are still listening, now that I have the small asks out of the way, please, please return to me, my friends who ruined me with their younger hearts and our grisly chemistry and our capacities for ruin once again. Tell them to call. Tell them to ask how I'm doing. Grant me foolhardy serenity. Release me in a pasture lush with absurdity. Let me run towards the pain like a horse. Thanks.
Our next reader is going to be Anastacia Cohen, and the one-sentence book art recommendation is Frida Kahlo and My Left Leg by Emily Rapp Black. Please welcome Anastacia.
Hi. I've never read any of my work before, so. I was like trying to decide what I was gonna read, and I was like, I'll just decide once I get up here. So whatever opens up first when I open my Substack, that's what I'm reading. Okay, so this one is called, okay. This one is called My Body Lives Between Your Fetish and Your Fear. I'm probably just going to read one or two paragraphs and then go to something a little less trauma dumpy. Okay, so my body lives between your fetish and your fear. As a queer woman navigating this modern dating world and having the experience of dating both men and women, there is a stark contrast between the two. While seemingly different, they both seem to paradoxically infantilize me in a way. I find that men tend to objectify and fetishize me, and women lead more towards the desexualization part of the spectrum. Being a disabled woman who wants to be yearned for and desired is like standing in the middle of two extremes. One side wants to make me a sexual experiment, and the other wants to pretend I don't have a body. People love to talk about inclusion until desire enters the room. There's an apparent discomfort with a body like mine when it's not viewed through the lens of pity or inspiration. I'm supposed to be sweet, soft, innocent, and untouched. However, I am also sexual, curious, and fully alive, and that reality seems to terrify people. Skip. Queer spaces and tokenization. The struggle of being a queer femme, seeking a partner, I believe is worse. Whether it's a femme for femme or femme for mass, etc., y'all get it. It always seems to turn into another bestie situation. And if the mere act of existing as a Black queer woman isn't challenging enough, introducing a disability further complicates matters, transforming me from a prospect into a symbol of representation. I become the example, the official DEI hire within their group, used as a talking point during inclusion discussions. When in reality, I simply want to be a human being. I simply just want to be touched. And then we're going to stop there. Thank you. And then I have a series called Letters I've Never Sent. So this one is called Dear C. Dear C, it's been a year. Finding the words to write this has been no easy feat. Do you remember me? Do you remember when I cooked your favorite meals after a hard day? When I carried your weight even when my back was breaking? Do you remember me? What we had was born in my naivety. I stepped into your world with open arms, longing to be cherished, not knowing how love was meant to live. Only I still remember you. I hold on to your favorite color. I keep alive your favorite songs. I rewatch all your favorite movies. I remember the words you said that carved me down to size. You're too sensitive. When my tears betrayed your hateful words. When the liquor carried you away and anger was your only company. I would never marry you. When I crafted myself to be perfect for you, yet perfection was never enough. I didn't mean to. Still, my lips swelled when your fist found me, my cheeks bruised when you lashed out, my arms welted when you pinned me to the ground. My knees scraped oral, crawling to safety. My eyes wept at your love. You've always been there for me. Though it was never your truth, only your plea. You wrapped me like ivy tight to a wall. Like cement at my feet, I remember you. You hunted me down and preyed on my insecurities. The apology flowers, your lack of attention. I was your punching bag. Do you remember me? I thought of you today, the times you dimmed me, the times you embarrassed me for sport. When I remember you, goosebumps rise along my skin. My body trembles at the thought of you. A hollow grows where my stomach once lived. I think of you every single day. Still don't remember? Well, let me remind you. I am the woman that held you when you cried. I am the woman that saved you. I am the woman who showed you what love could feel like. I am the woman who stayed when you needed me most. I am the woman who carried your burdens. I am your peace even when you couldn't be mine. So when you remember me as the woman who made you. Love, A. Thank you.
Excuse me, that was their first time reading. Can we do that again? Hey! Our next reader is Vinny Corsaro, And his one-sentence book art recommendation is In Universes by Emmett North, which is a multiversal exploration of depression, bears, and physics. And once again, for anybody taking notes in the zines, that is In Universes by Emmett North. Everybody give it up for Vinny Corsaro.
I have really bad handwriting, which is a bummer because I'm a high school teacher, and my board is full of really bad handwritten stuff, and I teach a lot of students with dyslexia, and I run into that problem every single day. But here we are. I'm going to read you guys an excerpt from a longer sci-fi novel I've been working on. Yeah. Listen, you're walking in the woods when you see a watch lying on a big rock. This watch is made of materials found in nature, metal, leather, crystals, but you know instantly that this watch is not of nature. It's too sleek, its function too recognizable. No, someone must have made it and placed it there. To you, that's the only possible explanation. Now, humans have used the watchmaker allegory for many reasons, but mainly to prove the existence of some kind of God. You are such complex, thinking, logical creatures existing in a world of animals and nature's sloppy evolution, you think you have no cognitive peers. The juxtaposition of your species on a planet like Earth seems to mean one thing. Humans must have been made, and they must have been placed here much like the watch. They must be special. We have been watching you for some time, and we find many problems with this chain of logic. Anthropocentrism is such a poison of its own creation. The belief that the Earth was made for you has done nothing but justify atrocities in the name of resource acquisition. Human atrocities, yes, but also the devastation of animal habitats, planetary cycles, and more. What the watchmaker allegory really implies is that yes, God leaves messages for humans, and no, other animals receive nothing. If an ant encountered a watch in the woods, it would simply climb over it, and maybe, in its small hive mind, express confusion at the slippery, strangely even surface. If a monkey happened across the watch, it would grunt in delight at the shiny face and chewable straps. These animals stumble across our watches every day, and yet they think nothing of your role in shaping the planet. How many watches have you stumbled across? How many watches are here on Earth but ignored because they don't fit on your wrist? How many truths exist? How many myths? How many gods? How much science? We have bad news. Logic will only take you so far. This is not a logical place. Mathematically, statistically, in all probability, you should not exist. None of you should. And yet, here you are. You have used science and math and history and religion to fit the world into one simple narrative that you are important. Your number systems are real. Your science, your personal data-mad research has answered only the questions that you've asked in only a language that you understand. Truth? No. Your fetish to know everything in its right place has only reinforced what you wanted to believe the whole time. And what good has that done? Have you found ways to live forever? Have you been able to imagine a better future? Have you avoided societal collapse, created enough wealth, or provided for all people? Have you discovered who really made the universe? What's the best way to live? What's the meaning of all of this? No. You're too busy trying to test the watches that you found. Whether it's for God or for science, this desire to find truth and meaning and purpose, you're missing the point. What about the watches that you don't understand? What else is littering the world that flies unnoticed above your heads? You are limited to 5 senses, and yet you've built a whole wealth of knowledge around the funnels that only you observe the universe with. Listen, asking who made the world is fruitless, as is who made the laws of nature, who made the systems we live in, and you might ask who made us. Sometimes things are found, not created. Sometimes things are powerful, just not to you. Sometimes the world resists being understood, quantified, measured, packaged, and sold. We are asking you something simple. Consider that you don't know what the watch really is. Consider that you don't know what other watches are out there waiting to be found. The world is full of watches and miracles and breakthroughs and phenomenon. You just don't know it. Listen, there is more. There is always more just out of reach that you will never see. The world you live in and inhabit and experience is just the tip of the tip of the tip of the tip of the world that actually exists. It's always been that way, and it always will be. So listen, we are already here. Thank you. I don't have any books to sell, but I am in a Vonnegut-themed jam band. So if that seems like you're up your alley, forgot the words there, come talk to me after the show. We got some shows coming up. So thank you.
My favorite thing in the world is reaching out to novelists on Instagram and being like, you got 5 minutes. What are you doing? I know. That was awesome. Thank you. It's really hard to excerpt a novel. I wouldn't know because I can't write more than a page at a time. But I hear that's very hard to do. Thank you, Vinny. And he is in a jam band with Chris from the Vonnegut Museum and Library as well. So they are a Vonnegut jam band. So talk to them. Our next reader today is going to be Aaron Thomas, who is, this is a sneaky plug, Aaron at A Thomas Poetry. And their one-sentence book art rec is Everything We Never Had by Randy Rebay. All right, so please welcome Aaron.
I've got 2 shorter poems for you today. This one is called The Space Between You and Me, and it's inspired by a painting called Monstera Sleeve Sleeves, 2001, at the High Art Museum in Atlanta by Anako Buafo. Oh, to be held, embraced, smothered as I nestle on your chest that becomes a home. Between the peaks and valleys, a divide, a pillow fortress, not built overnight, but by quiet resentments unspoken. A roaring fire and triple fur blankets fail to warm a bed that has gone cold. Come home. And this next one is called Louvre Jewel Heist. All eyes on the glass Parisian pyramid. Thieves descend, incognito hunters of a treasured tiara worn by empresses, now bones, gleaming with 2,000 diamonds. A bow brooch with tassels and fringe, bespoke of only the Gilded Age. Meanwhile, the house of whisper white, east wing bulldozed, history erased, for new regime's ballroom, like of old, so now too, to dance on the heads of lowly peasants. But all eyes on the Louvre, searching for carbon remnants of life, compressed by heat and sweat over an eon ago. Never they mind that in a snap, gone the food to feed mouths of children and those in most need. More banquets and balls, more king and queen pretenders, as they dance on our bones in all too macabre masquerade. But please, all eyes on the glass Parisian pyramid, for therein lies a true thief. Doesn't everyone love a story of a jewel heist?
Thank you, Aaron. There's a line in the first piece, A Bed Gone Cold, Please Come Home, which reminded me of a Nicole Seeley piece, which will be what we will open with at the next reading. So if you know that piece and can guess it, I'll buy you a cup of coffee or something. I don't have a huge budget, so we'll figure that out. All right, our next reader is also a Butler MFA alum and a prose writer, a dirty prose writer. You're not! Who also dabbled in poetry after reading their nonfiction, and it was incredibly lyrical. So, in fact, bringing up the poet and essayist, Monica Lewis, whose book recommendation is The Friend by Sigrid Nunez, is a grieving woman adopts her friend, a dog, a Great Dane who is also grieving. So if that sounds good to you, once again, it's The Friend by Sigrid Nunez. And now, Monica Lewis reading a poem.
everybody. Thanks. I thought I would read a poem about a blizzard because of the snow today. It's a blizzard of 1978 when I was a kid and stuck in the house with my 10 siblings. And the furnace went out. And we'd been up to a lot of mischief. So it's called Blizzard, Buzzards, and Lazarus. 1. When the summer died and was buried in snow, and the sides of the little yellow house was mottled white, and the trees, the rusted swing set, the hills were all bones lying under winter's white sheets. All the children wriggled inside the breezeway. Ghosts have diarrhea. Heaven has the plague. Lepers are dancing. They giggled, emptying out the crumbs from the old bread bags their mother saved from loaves bought in bulk. Bright loaves of wonder, of home pride, of sunbeam, purchased past their best if used by date at the day-old bread store. And they, the children, flapping in the breezeway, they, the chirruping birds, the speckled buzzards, they with their horny bills, they're pulling up of the plastic, dangling rubber bands scavenged from drawers. They who banded bread bags around their feet, those shackles of yellow optimism keeping them dry. They who had not yet lost their sense of smell, sniffing puffs of the blooming white yeast, pushing the front door open, bodies adrift in snow, gloveless fingers pecking the snow's dead skin. Dead skin from the lepers, from Lazarus, they shouted, as if casting the yellow light of candles from their pews, the hymnal's amber pages, confessing their sin. Their winged arms spread, the cawing wind, the wind's hungry swoops, clenching its mighty beak, picking up the snowy sheet, then dropping it, picking it up, then dropping it, flicking their bindings down the hill, strips of fetid gauze, rank as their shame, unraveling, unraveling. 2. Or was Lazarus their father dragging in from work, his dark eyes pulsing through a snowy scarf of crocheted webs, their father with his anointed skin, anointed of car grease and nicotine from his auto body repair shop, where he had sewn cars back together with a stream of silvery hot lead, resurrecting an old wrecked hood. The body part he dragged in on a rope for his children to use as a sled. 3. We dragged it up the hill, this heavy hood, laying our bones down on its rigged mass, sliding slowly down, down, until the last of the sun was snuffed, and we, the children, shuffled inside, stiff and cold, stiff and cold. 4. And there lie the old chuffing furnace, blowing out its last puff of smelly oil. 11 children now on the floor in front of the fire, earthed in blankets above a cold concrete slab. Our father tacking shredded quilts around the walls of the breezeway, murmuring with a nail in his mouth instead of a smoke. 5. And we lie entombed in his tattered cloth. We, the birds, the speckled buzzards, clawing the sheet pan of Chex Mix our mother had made, sucking the tangy crumbs off our fingers giggling and gorging into the night, chapped and ruddy-cheeked in front of the fire. Pecking, sparks of hope. While buried deep in the walls around us, the pipes to our father's house froze shut. Thank you.
So I quit smoking 3 months ago now, I think. Thank you. That's why I said it, actually, just so everybody would clap. But I was a pack-a-day smoker for 15 years, so I carry a cinnamon stick now. But that image of the nail in your father's, in the speaker's father's mouth instead of a smoke, that's how I feel all the time now. I'm always like, "Argh." Anyway, that's a great image. And our last reader of the whole night is going to be Kenneth Foran, whose book and art recommendation is Piranesi by Susanna Clark. Please give it up for last reader of the night, Kenneth Foran.
Hello. This is technically my debut as well, so I'm used to reading in front of students that I tutor instead of actual writers, so this will be interesting. I tend to write in sonnet form a lot, I guess just because I have a lot of left to give. But this is about somebody who I met recently, and then I like to do 2 sonnets in one. So it's about this person, and then about another relationship that I was witnessing. Beyond your beautiful exterior, there lies a mind of ultimate allure, conducting symphonies superior your throat performs. Devotion will endure so long that tongue glides golden ghostly threads from gospel nearly grasped. I worship thee, for lamb was I, to death deference embed, yet space in cradled arms you left for me. Unfettered folds insatiably demand to overflow with wealth unknown by czars. In me, believe this treasure lies at hand. Makers will be of dreams utmost bizarre and fumble in this knot of flesh and limbs so I can find within your beautiful mind. Awaiting flight to distant lands of mirth, I sit beside 2 bodies, simple, slacked, aloof, turned inward, their advertence dearth, a union by candescent tool hijacked. Automata rehearsing pleasantries like schemata by programmers designed. Even deaf, dumb, blind can spot disparities between their feigned passion and that of mankind. Had we this bond, we'd not be profligates. Cemented at the bosom, nestled deep, our giggles butterflies that seek to mate, we peer and pour o'er planets fast asleep. Alas, entertained am I by these whims. No evidence that I'm on your beautiful mind. So the beaver moon just graced her presence on top of us recently. And for those unfamiliar, that's sort of the time of year when the beavers specifically prepare for that awfulness going on outside. And so I was like, let me take stock myself. So this is beaver moon. She led me to a clearing where the beavers were rearing. Wet crevices their campsite under her stable moonlight. They built hills in the water to save kin from winter's slaughter, latticing young like me, fast-growing, barely breathing. Strolling through phantom foliage, her flushed face full and doling, cruel tension roiled my head. Gotta let go of this dread. So I went down to the stream, stillness lulling me to dream, worries laid down waterlogged, ambition and purpose jogged. Lead me into this cold night, beaver moon. Be my guiding light. All right, if I have time for one more, I'm gonna highlight.
1.5 minutes.
Okay, that's perfect. This is a fantastic old Irish poem that was anonymous but has since been translated. This is Seamus Heaney's translation of Pengerban. Pengerban and I at work, adepts equals cat and clerk, His whole instinct is to hunt, mine to free the meaning pent. More than loud acclaim, I love books, silence, thought, my alcove. Happy for me, Pangerbon child plays round some mouse's den. Truth to tell, just being here, housed alone, housed together, adds up to its own reward. Concentration, stealthy art. Next thing an unwary mouse bears his flank, Panger pounces. Next thing lines that held and held, meaning back, begin to yield. All the while his round bright eye fixes on the wall, while I focus my less piercing gaze on the challenge of the page. With his unsheathed perfect nails, Panger springs, exults, and kills. When the longed-for difficult answers come, I too exult. So it goes, to each his own, no vying, no vexation. Taking pleasure, taking pains, kindred spirits, veterans. Day and night, soft purr, soft pad, Pangerbon has learned his trade. Day and night, my own hard work solves the cruxes, makes a mark. Thank you.
What a great voice. That was your first reading ever? Heck yeah, everybody. Just a great voice, that like growl down here. Reading out loud is important. That's the whole show. So we will be back on December 14th and maybe continuing into the new year on the second Sunday at 4 p.m. We have 5 readers lined up, but I don't have the other 2 in front of me. We will definitely have Nazreen Khan, Ariana Beatty, and Albany featuring during our next reading on December 14th. Yes, clap, 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 clap. I want to thank a couple more people once again, and by people, I mean organizations. Butler MFA in Creative Writing. So thank you to the Butler University MFA in Creative Writing for providing food and signage and the pens. Indiana Humanities, obviously, Indiana Humanities did go through some pretty severe cuts earlier this year. If you have, please give. There is a donation QR code right out front. Definitely not obligatory, but any little helps support the arts. And finally, I also wanted to plug Booth. So Booth is a journal that comes out annually or biannually print, and it's run through the Butler MFA. Right now, they're running a contest that is honoring Susan Neville. So it's called the Susan Neville Prize. And they're giving away $1,000 for the best fiction and $1,000 for the best poetry. It is $20 to submit. Please visit booth.butler.edu. If you have just a poem that you've been trying to find a home for, Booth is great. In addition to that $20 submission fee, you also get a subscription. There are at least 6 people in this room who have worked on Booth. If you have questions about that, please chat with people after the show. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to John Strauss. Thank you to WQRT. And thank you to you. Look at the snow when you're here.
I am Megan Telligman, and I am Director of Programs at Indiana Humanities. So we do programming and give grants around the state to encourage Hoosiers to talk about history or read literature, to contemplate philosophy and civics and all those great humanities disciplines. So there are things like coming together for conversation, understanding nuance and context, all of the kind of texture of humanities practices. So we have a lot of passion for our work, and we think it's really important for Hoosiers across the state to have access to humanities programming.
This has been Real Life Revised, a series of readings with Indiana writers, produced by Sam Ferrante and John Strauss, in partnership with Indiana Humanities, the Butler MFA in Creative Writing, Butler's Booth Magazine, and WQRT Radio, part of the Garfield Park Creative Community from Big Car Collaborative.